Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice here that the ES put in a very strong high in the previous session here. That was the pre-market high on the news of a vaccine with 90% effectiveness in preventing COVID-19, which is big news, obviously. Is this a sell the news event? Have we pushed higher and now put in a strong top, which will then at the very least push us back down within the current trading range? Or is price going to find a way to push through the 3587's 3600 level that we talked about yesterday, which is the current midpoint right in that zone, and continue higher? Are we pushing to the upside? At the moment, we have a very strong low here, one of the biggest starts to a month ever here on a 4, 5, 6 day basis, and then here you see a strong top. Is this an impulse top that could give us a midpoint pullback? If that's the case, we'd be pulling back somewhere around 3450s, and we could be snapping back to that fairly soon. So again, got to see how this plays out. Overall, this zone up here is still the most important zone. That's 3587. That's the top of the key range. 3600, and if we can't get back through that area, we could be looking at a fill back down. Again, 3400 quarter would be the easy downside target, the previous FOMC key level from September, and then from there you'd likely see a rotation across the way into 3200 to 3250. Again, 3587 is going to be the key level to watch. Let's take a look at the NQ. Now the NQ here took quite a tumble here. This one was the one that sold off initially after the initial bump higher and put in a very clear key range to the downside with a lower target at 11,495. Just from yesterday's zone here, when it started to break off of 12K, it looked like we had a shot to drop all the way down to 11K. That's what I mentioned yesterday in our trading room. We could have a plus 1,000 point move to the downside here from 12 to 11K. Again, we've seen that move play out several times. Here. Now we're back up. This right here is a bearish outside day with huge ADR range. This is just a significant ADR range right here. Bearish outside bar. The rejection occurred right in the zone where major rejections have been occurring. And that's what I mentioned before. As we rally up, I'd be watching for signs of rejection at around current highs or perhaps into the previous high. And there it is, a significant rejection. We've already snapped back to the midpoint of this new impulse move, and that could be a great new key range to work off of. You have this big key range here. If you wanted to, you can take that high and low and get yourself a new key range out of that one if you wanted to. I'm going to stick with the one we have for now, but very clear move. Again, you reject at the edge, you come back to the center of the key range. That's the 11,560s right there. We could see a little bit of a chop and then a continuation toward that 11K. So again, very impressive selling pressure here. If price cannot reestablish back above 11.8, we likely have more downside ahead. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. Crude oil is up right now about 0.9%. This one here has reached the upper end of its range as well here. This zone has been an area where price just hasn't been able to find acceptance. You can see the FOMC key level from July is 41.26 right here. And every time price gets above it, offered, and here it got above it yesterday and offered back off of that level. So again, this is a very significant zone of resistance here. Price just really hasn't wanted to get beyond that zone and instead has traded around that 40 level for some time. It just loves 40 right now. Even if we do get a little bit higher and say take out 42s here, we might snap right back to 40. So clearly the current trend is up. It started with this significant rejection down here, bullish outside day. This is basically inverse to what we're seeing right now in the NQ. With the big bearish outside day, significant rejection at the edge. This is how the month started off for crude oil. Higher low here, as we talked about, could be very bullish as well, and it has been. We're still flowing higher here. But I would say once we get into 42s, there could be a rejection that brings us back to 40. So right now, still in the upflow here, but could begin to see some rejection soon. Here's a look lastly at gold futures. This one's up 1% right now even. It is bouncing off of the previous session's lows. That day was one of the few biggest days that we've seen to the downside of that magnitude. It was significant, 400% of ADR. You can see here another 400% or plus day there. And what tends to happen after these big roll down days is if the next day can finish above the open, there tends to be a snapback of that move. Even if it's just for a 1-day basis or a 3-day basis, it tends to snap back. Right now, we were looking for a snapback that can take us back toward 1907. And the spot to watch was either a failed new low opportunity or watch the previous month's low right here for a bounce. And so far that is the low at the moment. And currently price is trading above the open. So if price can close this way, this could be an extreme reversal buy opportunity that could bring us right back up within the range, but with a very high probability target at 1907.10. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.